Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today we're going to work on my solar storage. I got my overnight flight from Japan. Flip open the mattress. We roughly got 15 by 15, not square inches, 15 by 15 inches to work with, which is perfect. We're a 12 by 12 milk crate. I got the solar storage idea from Solar with Will Prowse. Got the batteries in the bottom crate. I'm going to take the second crate, chop it in half, give it roughly 4 or 5 inches. So it lines up flush with the frame. I'm going to have my charge controller, the USB and the 12 volt ports in there. And when it's flush, I just flip over my bed frame. Voila! To get started with this project, I'm going to take the first milk crate, like so. I got, what is this, a 1/4 inch plywood, and I'm going to line the bottom of it with a 12 by 12 square, and then do some 4 by 12 along the outside and frame the inside box. All right, I got the first piece done. Perfect square. I rounded off the corners, plop it in. There you go. Now I'm gonna make the edges along the side. I cut out all the parts for my box, 12 by 12. I'm gonna glue this in about 6 inches, roughly in the middle, and then I'm going to cut the crate in half first. Cut the box in half, trimmed it up a little bit. I'm probably gonna hit it with the sander. Fits in there perfect. Like I said, I'm gonna hit it with the sander real quick, glue the outsides, and while that's drying, I'm gonna get the switches and the USB ports and hubs drilled and lined up. Here's what we're looking at. 2 dual USB ports with red switches. These will always be on for the GPS and the dash cam, and a phone charger going to the front. 2 more dual USB ports with blue switches. These will be auxiliary ports for charging cameras and such. And then also 2 12 volt ports run by yellow switches. One for the refrigerator, that'll probably always be on, and then another one to run the air compressor, the fan, or the heated blanket, depending on the season. All right, I'm gonna wire up the box today. I'm hoping I got everything I need. Some 6-gauge wire for the battery. I think this is 16 gauge or 18 gauge to run all the USB ports, wire connectors, heat shrink tubing, fuse block, ground in, wire stripper. Alright, I got the switch to the ports all connected. I used heat shrink this time. My friend looked at my last box and he said you did a good job, but instead of electrical tape, use heat shrink. I had some at home and I just never thought to use it, so John boy, this one's for you. Some strap wire I was able to use, and I got all the ground connections made. Started off with 3 inches, 3.5, then I started using 4 inches of wire, and then this is like at least 2 or 3 feet. So then I got plenty of room to work with. Now I'm going to run a ground wire on all of the switches. is correctly wired. Finally, third time's a charm. The gold post is the ground all the way across. The bottom terminal goes to the USB hub or the 12-volt port. And then now the middle post, I'm going to test out with the red alligator clip and make sure all the switches work correctly. Alright, everything checks out. I'm going to replace this switch, and then I'm going to have the power cable come in through the side, go to the main fuse, and from the main fuse to the fuse block. See that with my hat in the way, to the fuse block. So I'm going to take these two crimps and like an inch of wire and make that a connection. I shrank this one up a bit to save some room. Alright, now I'm going to run the power line from each fuse to the switch. Alright, I'm going to take the drill a hole in the side to run the power cable, and another to run the last of the ground to the battery. Put in 2 bolts, and then that's good for the top of the milk crate besides staining it. So I should have drilled this first, but I didn't know where things were going to go. So wish me luck. Alright, where's my snippers, eh? Alright, one more for the ground. Everything should be wired up. Got positive and negative from the battery coming into the box. Positive goes directly to a fuse. About 50 amps. I'm probably going to have 55 to 60 amps, so that'll just cut it. The fuse goes to each switch, and then I got 2 extra. Ground comes in, goes underneath all the switches at the bottom, comes down on the ground, and then that's where the switches and the plugs are also grounded to. Right now, I made some battery cables. I'm going to run the battery together in parallel, and then run these wires to an Anderson clip so I can disconnect the 2 layers. This wire is going to go to the battery. I just want to test this out, make sure it works. Some of these switches should light up. And then I'm not sure if I want to run this through the hole in the side or just leave it clipped on the outside and have the battery cables go inside. Figure that out. Alright, we just the milk crate, I need to order a few more fuses here, and then I want to stain the wood. Got the Anderson connector I just installed. I got plenty of excess cable just in case I want to, you know, redo the layout a little differently or redo the batteries. I might mount and start wiring the charge controller, or I might wait 3 more days to get my car back. It goes a little something like this. We're gonna drop this down because this is where my driver's side seat's gonna be. But got caught on the screw. So we're gonna slide this underneath. Got our USB ports and everything. Clip it together. Boom. There we go. I might make a lid for this, I might not. Before I stain it, I gotta make a hole to run the 12 volt. I gotta make a hole to run the 12 volt port out to run the cooler. I need to take my drill, roughly make a little over an inch wide hole on the side so I can run the cooler into the crate and into the plug. That's almost a perfect hole right there. I'm wondering if that will fit. This is one of those moments where you work really hard on something and you're like, I'm about to get up. Moment of truth. Oh, look at that. Cooler fit through. Can I get the fan through as well without drilling another hole? Yes. So I only needed one hole. This is some test fitting right there. The extra slack is good. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Power's good. Cooler's good. My favorite. Fan. This fan is the main reason why I started going solar. Yeah. Got the top portion of the crate stained, waiting to dry. The frame is stained, waiting to dry. Now we're gonna wire up the charge controller. We got a, what is that, an SAE 10 gauge wire, another one, plug it into the charge controller. That way we got a quick disconnect for the battery. I want everything to plug and play so I could take it out and rip it out if I need to do that again. So here's what we're looking at. Just this extra wires, the charge controller, the 2 batteries. Charge controller should fit on the side right there. Anyway, that's where that's going. Normally you'd want to mount a charge controller vertically so you could take advantage of the heatsink fins. However, this is a really small system and this is a oversized charge controller for what I really need. So I'm not worried about this getting too high. Let's plug this up, give it a quick test to make sure everything works and my connections are crimped down tight enough. I do have some heat shrink tube to put on that. Negative to negative, positive to positive, and the battery should light up. Some sparks. Nice, we're good to go. Next thing I'm going to do is take these O-rings, crimp them on, and then bolt those down to the battery terminals. My car comes back in about 4 hours, and there's about 3 projects I need to finish up before I get it back. So from the charge controller to the battery, I need to add a circuit breaker. And then from the charge controller to the solar panel cables, I need to add another Anderson clip so I can disconnect it from the solar panels. And from the solar panels to the charge controller, again, another circuit breaker. I just got my car back from the auto body shop. I'm gonna test out the solar crate right now, but before I throw the crate in, I gotta throw my mattress frame into the car. Here's all our USB hubs and 12-volt ports. Put it on this way. Anderson connectors. Show you everything's lit up. Nice fan, nice cooler. Let's go. All I have to do now is tuck away some wires and then attach the solar panel cables coming from the charge controller in the milk crate and attach them to the cables that run to the solar panels on the roof, and then we can call this project done. This is the Anderson from the solar panels. This is to the milk crate. Let's clip these together. And then I'm going to slide the slack back into the trunk. I don't want to trim it to length because I did that the last time, and then I ended up needing some more slack when I adjusted stuff. So let me pull the slack back into the trunk and then add our circuit breaker, and then we're done. Back on with the solar panels, I think I'm about done with the solar milk crate. Let's take a look. My seats are pushed up and all the way forward. You still have enough room for your backpack and a pillow on top. It's my medium-sized crash pad. Fold this up. Here we have the solar milk crate with all our USB ports and our 12-volt ports. My fridge, 12-inch 12-volt. Those come in the ports through the side with the seat in normal position. You can still slide it all the way forward or all the way backwards. Does not affect the seating at all. I rounded off the edges on the wood too, just so it doesn't scratch the seat. But the top half of the crate can be disconnected by the Anderson clips. It can be disconnected from the solar panels, an Anderson clip. And then if you can see right here, it's just a circuit breaker to kill the power from the solar panels going into the charge controller on the side. So those are the 2 wires going to the solar panel. And this little guy is a solar meter. Tells you the input of your solar panels, the battery levels, and then the output. It's just a long cable. I got to put them somewhere. I don't know where yet. Other than that, we're done. Just push it back and we're ready to go. The only thing I want to do is probably make a lid for this because of these straps. Obviously when I fold it down, they could get tangled in there with the wires, and if I flip it up carelessly, it might rip a wire out. So yeah, it's the only thing I'm going to do is add a lid. Alright, this is test 1 in Fit Camper 2.0. It's roughly the same, but I did build a frame, so I lost 5 inches on the spacing from my head to where my body is on the mat. I just got off work. It's 7 in the morning because I work overnight. If I turn this off real quick, I still have, you know, some gaps here and there in my insulated light blocking curtains, but they do the job quite well. It's still nice and dark in here. What temperature are we working with? 77. It is supposed to be a hot one today, so that should at least keep me cool enough for night 1 in here.